This is the Read to Lead podcast, episode 560, Game-Changing Reads, 11 Books Every Leader Needs, Part 2. Hello and welcome to the final episode of 2024 of the Read to Lead podcast and the second in a two-part series. I'm your host, Jeff Brown, and in this second part of our special year-end series, we're featuring must-read nonfiction books that can transform your life and your leadership journey. Our list includes 11 books that should be in every leader's library, and last time we covered books 11 through 6, exploring everything from decision-making to deep work. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I encourage you to go back and check that one out first, then come back to this episode, which picks up where that episode leaves off. That's right, today I'm revealing my top 5 selections, each one a masterpiece that has changed countless lives and shaped our understanding of human behavior, communication, and meaning. And yes, those are some hints as to the books on this list. At number 5 is a book that I was gifted many years ago. It came out in 2007, and my favorite radio consultant of all time, a guy named John Frost, who occasionally listens to this show. So John, if you're listening, hey, thanks for gifting me this book all those years ago. I'm talking about the book Made to Stick by brothers Chip and Dan Heath, Why Some Ideas Thrive and Others Die. The Heath brothers tackle this crucial question by breaking down the anatomy of ideas that stick. Through their success framework, simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, and stories, they reveal the key elements that make ideas memorable and impactful. So let's break down each element of that success framework. The first S, simple. Chip and Dan emphasize finding the core of any idea, what they call finding the lead. They share the example of Southwest Airlines' core message: we are the low-fare airline. This simple idea guided every decision the company made, from which routes to fly to which planes to buy. Unexpected is the U. Our brains are wired to notice change and novelty. The book shows how breaking patterns and creating surprise helps ideas stick. They cite the example of a flight attendant who turned the routine safety announcement into a comedy routine. You've seen these again and again since on YouTube, no doubt. Passengers not only paid attention, but remembered the safety instructions. Concrete is the first C. Abstract ideas don't stick. The authors show how turning concepts into concrete images make them memorable. And they share the story of NASA's Man on the Moon goal, a perfectly concrete vision that inspired thousands of people to solve countless technical challenges. The second C is credible. Ideas need to be believable. The book shows various ways to establish credibility, from statistics to sincerity to external validation. They share fascinating examples of testable credentials, like how Wendy's founder Dave Thomas would personally visit restaurants and check the thickness of tomato slices himself. Emotional is the E. For people to take action, they need to care. Chip and Dan show how tapping into emotions makes ideas sticky. They explore how charity organizations like World Vision switched from sharing statistics about poverty to sharing stories about individual children, which dramatically increased their donations. And finally is stories. The book demonstrates how narratives drive action by providing mental simulation and inspiration. Now, mind you, this was long before he went to jail, and for good reason. The authors show how Subway's Jared Fogle story became a powerful marketing tool because it provided a mental rehearsal for weight loss. What makes this book exceptional is its practical application to leadership communication. The brothers introduce the concept of the curse of knowledge, the difficulty experts have in remembering what it's like not to know something. This insight alone can transform how you communicate with your team. That again is book number 5, Made to Stick: Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die by Chip and Dan Heath. Came out in 2007. Book number 4 on our list was released the year I graduated high school, 1984. It's Influence by Robert Cialdini. Cialdini's masterwork on the psychology of persuasion remains one of the most important books on human behavior ever written. Through extensive research and field studies, he identifies 6 universal principles of influence: reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity. Let's explore each of these principles in a little more detail. Reciprocity. We humans have a deep-seated need to repay favors. Cialdini shares examples like how free samples in supermarkets can double or triple sales, or how the Hare Krishna Society dramatically increased donations by first giving people flowers. Commitment and consistency. Once we make a choice to take a stand, we feel internal and external pressure to behave consistently with that commitment. Cialdini explains how this principle is used in techniques like foot in the door, where a small initial commitment leads to larger ones later. Social proof. Like it or not, we look to others' actions to determine appropriate behavior. The book explores how this principle operates in various contexts, from laugh tracks in sitcoms to hotel signs about towel reuse that reference other guests' behaviors. Then there's authority. We tend to obey authority figures even when their directives conflict with our own judgment. Cialdini examines both the power and potential dangers of this principle, including the famous Milgram experiments. Liking is next. We're more likely to be influenced by people we like. The book explores the factors that increase liking, including similarity, cooperation, and compliments. Cialdini shares how car dealerships use this principle by having salespeople search for commonalities with customers, or how Tupperware parties leverage friendship networks for sales. And finally, scarcity. We value things more when they're less available. Cialdini explores how this principle drives everything from limited time offers to exclusive memberships. He shares fascinating examples like how a beef shortage led to a massive buying spree in the 70s, and Lord knows we've had plenty of similar examples since then. The book's real genius lies in showing how these principles can be used ethically in business and in leadership. Cialdini emphasizes the importance of using these tools for genuine influence rather than manipulation. He provides strategies for both employing these principles effectively and defending against their misuse. That brings us to book number 3 on our list. It came out a few years later in 1990. It's Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This groundbreaking work explores the state of optimal experience, what Csikszentmihalyi calls flow, when we are so engaged in an activity that time seems to disappear. His research began with a fascinating question: what makes people feel like life is worth living? Now, through decades of research, Csikszentmihalyi identified the common elements of flow experiences. There are 6: clear goals and immediate feedback, a balance between challenges and skills, complete concentration on the task, a loss of self-consciousness, a distorted sense of time, and a sense that the activity is intrinsically rewarding. And the book shares compelling examples of flow across various activities. A surgeon describing the perfect operation, a chess master in the middle of an intense match, an artist lost in the process of creation, and a climber fully engaged in scaling a difficult wall. What makes this book essential is its practical implications for work and for leadership. Csikszentmihalyi shows how organizations can create conditions for flow by setting clear goals and expectations, providing immediate feedback, matching challenges to abilities, eliminating unnecessary distractions, and creating autonomy within structure. The book challenges conventional wisdom about happiness and success. Rather than seeking relaxation or pleasure, Csikszentmihalyi's research suggests that we're happiest when we're stretching our abilities in pursuit of challenging goals. Next up on our list is a more recent entry, this one from 2012. It's Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. His exploration of how habits work and how they can be changed offers transformative insights for personal and organizational change. The book's brilliance lies in breaking down complex behavioral science into practical frameworks for change. The core of the book is the habit loop. cue, the trigger that initiates the behavior, routine, the behavior itself, and reward, the benefit that makes the behavior worth repeating. Duhigg shares compelling case studies at multiple levels. There's individual change, like the story of Lisa, who transformed from a smoker with debt problems into a marathon runner with a stable financial life by focusing on one keystone habit that triggered a multitude of other changes. There's organizational change, and the story of how Paul O'Neill transformed Alcoa by focusing on worker safety as a keystone habit, which led to improvements in efficiency, quality, and profitability. And societal change, like the story of how the Montgomery bus boycott succeeded by leveraging existing social habits and creating new ones within the community. The book introduces crucial concepts like keystone habits, certain habits that create a cascade of other changes. Examples include regular exercise, family dinners, and making your bed each morning. The golden rule of habit change is another. Keep the same cue and reward, but insert a new routine. And third is small wins, how tiny victories build momentum for larger changes. Again, that's book 2 on our list. It's The Power of Habit from 2012 by Charles Duhigg. And that leaves book number 1. This is a book I bought several years ago, a gift edition of the book, a book that originally came out in 1946. My gift edition was published, I believe, in 2006, some 60 years later. It includes a foreword by Harold Kushner, who is the author of When Bad Things Happen to Good People, and some other extras. I'm talking about the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This book is a profound meditation on finding purpose and meaning in life, written after Frankl's experiences in Nazi concentration camps. This isn't just another book about positive thinking or resilience. It's a deep exploration of what makes life worth living, even in the darkest of circumstances. The book is divided into 2 parts. Part 1 is Frankl's personal account of life in the concentration camps, told through the lens of a psychiatrist observing human behavior in obviously extreme conditions. He noticed that survivors weren't necessarily the physically strongest, but often those who maintained a sense of purpose and meaning. And part 2 of the book is an introduction to logotherapy, Frankl's approach to psychotherapy based on the premise that the primary motivational force in humans is the search for meaning. Key insights from the book include the 3 sources of meaning, which are number 1, creating work or doing deeds, number 2, experiencing something or encountering someone, and number 3, the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. There's the existential vacuum, Frankl's term for the feeling of meaninglessness that he saw as the major psychological challenge of our time, and tragic optimism, the ability to remain optimistic despite the tragic triad of pain, guilt, and death. What makes this book extraordinary is its unique combination of profound personal experience, psychological insight, and practical wisdom. Frankl's observation that those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how has implications for everything from personal resilience to organizational purpose. For leaders, the book offers crucial insights about creating meaningful work environments, helping others find purpose in their roles, building resilient organizations, and leading through crisis and change. Again, book number 1 on our list is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, published originally in 1946. So what did you think of my game-changing reads, 11 books every leader needs? Let's recap them real quick. The book at number 11, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, published in 2011. Book number 10, Atomic Habits by James Clear, published in 2018. And a book I recently learned hasn't just sold more than 10 million copies, it's now sold more than 20 million copies. Wow. Book number 9 on our list, Good to Great by Jim Collins, published in 2001. Book number 8, Mindset by Carol S. Dweck, published in 2006. At number 7, Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, published in 2012. Number 6, Deep Work by Cal Newport, published in 2016. And recapping the books from this episode, number 5, Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath, published in 2007. Book number 4, Influence by Robert Cialdini, published in 1984. Book number 3, Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, published in 1990. Book number 2, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, published in 2012. And lastly, again, book number 1, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, published in 1946. Each of these books offers unique insights that can transform your approach to leadership, to life, and personal growth. From understanding how we think and form habits to finding deeper meaning in our lives and in our work, these books can provide a foundation for more effective leadership and a more fulfilling life, I would say. Hope you enjoyed our list. I'd love to know what you thought about it. You can comment on the show notes page for this episode found at readtoleadpodcast.com/560 for episode 560. You can also connect with me and comment online. I'm at The Jeff Brown on most platforms. Or you can send me an email to let me know what you think, jeff@readtoleadpodcast.com. Thanks for joining me for this special series. Thank you for joining me for 2024. And thank you for being a listener to this podcast, whether it's just been a few weeks or whether it's been all 11 and a half years. Until next time, remember, leaders read and readers lead.